Sexual assaults are physical acts by individuals, but they also reflect social norms, habits, and assumptions that need to be challenged. That's the reason for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. To tell us about what's being done to change the narrative is the Executive Director of the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center, Gina Scaramella. Thank you very much for being with us, Gina.
Thanks for having me.
As we've just been reminded recently, sexual assaults, they make the news oftentimes, as a stranger attacking this lone jogger or something like that. It's a scary scenario. It does happen, but that's probably not so typical.
Right. It's about 20% of the cases is how we think about it. So about 80% of the cases happen between people who knew each other that don't involve bushes, strangers, nighttime, or anything. It's really about relationships.
And I guess this is all kinds of things. We're not just talking man versus woman here too, right?
Right. Certainly, same gender sexual assault is a major issue. Folks who are transgender are victimized at incredibly high rates. And children and teens are among the largest group of people who are victimized, as well as people with disabilities. So it's lots of subsets of people who are at high risk.
Well, you don't want to blame the victims, survivors, and you don't want to let the perpetrators off the hook. But I guess there's another element here, and that's the way people make assumptions about things, about what's okay to do as opposed to what's not okay. Talk about that.
Well, I think for a large part, we need to do a lot of work on just how we talk about a lot of things in our culture, because a lot of them do end up, in fact, promoting what we call rape culture in our movement. Things even as simple as school dress codes can really draw a pretty quick line from, girls are wearing their shorts too short to the skirt caused the assault. And I think we're really trying to challenge even things like how schools set policies and who they're for, and how they talk about them with students are important things we do on a regular basis, and try to communicate about those things on a regular basis to help people think about how do those kinds of things contribute or work against rape culture.
Well, we certainly had one school in Boston that was struggling with stretch pants for girls in high school, and every girl in college or woman in college was almost dressed the same way, and so they want to be like the older kids. But how do you navigate that in the school?
Right. Well, I think one of the things we try to do is have people move away from a gendered idea of what clothes are. So rather than being gendered about what the clothing is, to say if they want skirts or shorts or pants or shirts to be of a certain length, to say what that is. Is it halfway down your elbow? Is it all the way to your wrist? And to not make it about what girls are wearing or what boys are wearing, and certainly not to suggest that girls are responsible for distracting boys in school and that kind of thing. That just really goes to a blame the victim mentality and a boys can't control themselves narrative that's really destructive to everyone.
This is BNN News. We're talking with Gina Scaramella of the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center. Gina, what also goes on here is that an assault is not just a short life kind of news story. This is something that people live with for quite a long time.
Right. And that's one of the things that's so important about having a robust rape crisis center that we have here in Boston, which really can work with someone from moments after an assault, accompanying them to the hospital or using our hotline services, but to decades afterwards, because as you said, the effects really go on and sort of circle back as people go through different pieces of their life. If they were raped as a teenager, maybe they have a sort of resurfacing of the issues as they enter into a primary relationship. Maybe it surfaces again when they're having children or at the death of a parent. So other issues certainly trigger back that loss and that grief of experiencing something so traumatic.
Well, one of the events scheduled this month is a series of workshops on self-care. What does that involve?
Well, one of the things we work really hard to do, because one of our long-standing parts of BARC is that we invite volunteers to be part of the solution with us. So we're recruiting people from every walk of life to come and help us solve this problem by participating in our hotline, our medical accompaniment, our community education work. And because we do that, and these are not necessarily professionals, although some of them are, we need to train them how to take care of themselves as they start seeing, sexual assault around every corner. Because just when I remember myself going through our volunteer training, because I was a volunteer myself back in the early 90s, and you just start to see it everywhere because you become attuned to it. And we try to help people understand that and do things that help them get settled again, feel like they can put it in its place and keep moving on. And we have a really wonderful community at BARC where people feel that sense of support. So a training like we're providing on Thursday night is for anyone in the community or other organizations to come and learn some of the tools and techniques we use among our volunteer pool as well as with staff.
I remember a time when one of the main reasons for your hotline is that the expectations for help from the police were so low that, that the people needed another option. I think the police are doing better now, but at the same time, what should they be coming to you for on this hotline?
Well, the police have a very different role and a very specific and important role, but it is a different role. Their role is to, gather evidence to present to the prosecution a potential crime. And our role is to basically follow what survivors are telling us that they need. That may be something as concrete as moving the apartment that they're in because they are afraid that the offender knows where they live. It could be that they really want some counseling because, in fact, they had an earlier loss in life and are trying to process both things together. It could be that they want to pursue a civil complaint against a landlord, for example, and we can help with that as well. So really trying to take the lead from the person who's in that space of needing to figure out how they're going to take steps forward in their life and what would that be for them. So we don't prescribe one thing, but we do have an array of multidisciplinary services that are all free for people to take advantage of.
One other event you have planned is a walk.
Right, we call it the Walk for Change, and it's our 11th year doing this walk, and it's going to be our biggest year, we're happy to say. And that's really our opportunity to both raise funds for the center so we can provide these free services to anyone who needs them. But it's also our chance to be visible and out in the community saying that we're working every day to support survivors and sexual assault.
And of course the message is of visibility here. It's not to say that these things only happen to other people or people who are different from us. These are people who are like us.
Exactly. One survivor said to me once, no one knew what to do to help me when I was assaulted, and what I tell them is come walk with me. And I think that that's just a powerful, people don't know what to do in families or in communities. And concrete things like coming together and saying, like, I hear you, I believe you, and I'm with you, go a really long way in helping not only that survivor that you know, but actually the whole community. It's an incredibly warm and energizing experience for most people.
And where is that going to take place exactly?
That's over at in Brighton at the park across the street from the Harvard Stadium, Artisani Park, and there will be lots of information on our website, and we're encouraging people to register and join us.
Well, I know they can Google Boston Area Rape Crisis Center, and you've got the website. So
yes, and the hotline number and anything else people need.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
From the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center, Gina Scaramella. We'll have more news in just a moment.